We're now going to look at co-creation, and this is probably the most philosophical of the teachings so far. And we're going to look at this question, do you create your own reality? And if we go back to our early description of intention from Deepak Chopra, he says an intention that flows from the being state or from the spiritual body and is held by your mind changes neural pathways in the brain. This brings about changes in your life, in your behavior, that causes changes in your environment and life circumstance, especially when your intention includes a desire to be of service. Well, this part in red here that's highlighted is the most relevant for looking at this question, do you create your own reality? Deepak is not saying that there. What he's saying is that we can change our behavior, and that in doing that, this will cause changes in our environment and life circumstance, but it is not necessarily creating our environment, nor is it creating our life circumstance. So let's look at this ancient parable from a body of teaching called Jainism that is from about 600 BC, very influential to Mahatma Gandhi during his time for supporting his teachings in religious tolerance. And I'm going to read this because I want to make sure that I come through here with a clear rendition of the teaching. A group of blind men, so very important, these men are blind, heard that a strange animal called an elephant had been brought to town, but none of them were aware of its shape and form. Out of curiosity, they said, we must inspect and know it by touch, of which we are capable. So they sought it out, and when they found it, they groped about it. In the case of the first person, whose hand landed on the trunk, he said, this being is like a drain pipe. For another monk, whose hand landed on the elephant's ear, it seemed like a fan. And yet for another monk, whose hand was upon its leg, he perceived it to be like a pillar. And in the case of the monk who placed his hand upon its back, he said, indeed, this elephant is like a throne. Now, each of these presented a true aspect when he related what he had gained from experiencing the elephant in the way he was capable. None of them strayed from the truth of what they had experienced, and yet they all fell short of fathoming the true magnificence of the whole elephant. And so when we are going about our lives and focusing on our intentions and really fortifying our inner containers, acting with alignment, we are like these monks with this elephant, and yet we cannot fathom what all of reality might be. It's absolutely impossible with our current state of consciousness. And so what we can do, though, is do our best at molding and shaping the way we perceive and experience our lives, our part of the elephant that we have the great honor of touching, and that the way we behave influences how the other monks are experiencing their perception of the elephant. We alone do not create the elephant, and we do not create our reality. Instead, it's a cooperation with infinite intelligence, with spirit, with the quantum field, with God, with the supreme power, whatever way we want to describe the extraordinary divine within which we live. It's co-creation. And this is very comforting when we consider the difficult things that happen. Why certain people get sick. Why was there that tsunami in Fukushima? Why do children have to suffer? If we go to that place where we say we create our own reality, that can cause a lot of suffering. So it's a much more facilitating belief, and in fact, I believe a far greater truth, to hold the belief that we are like the blind monks and the elephant, and the best we can do is focus on our segment of the elephant and just do our very best with that. And that's what we're here to do in this intention practice.